such a talent and such an athlete that, hey, he's on the team, let's use him somehow. What else can he do?
I mean, the guy does everything.
I don't know too many people did more things than he did.
He's probably one of the most versatile players that many of us will see in our lifetimes.
You are the secret weapon, I'm telling you.
In the early days of pro football, most players learned multiple positions and played both ways.
Everybody had to be a defensive player back when I started. If you couldn't play defense, they didn't have any place for you.
But the game became specialized, and now versatile players are rare. So what makes a versatile player on our list?
The best way to describe these kind of players, these versatile players, is that they're like a Swiss Army knife. You could open a can of beans, you could kill a bear, you could dig a trench, all with this one tool.
Cordell Stewart is in there as a wide receiver.
Glass is lined up in the backfield.
Cordell Stewart is the quarterback.
I think versatility has to be judged by, can a guy do everything to help you win?
George Blanda has just been elected king of the world.
I think guys who did it over a length of a career, those are the guys that a show like this should be about.
Picked off! Sanders! Another classic by Dion!
The number 10 most versatile player of all time, Tom Matte.
And in between was versatile Tom Matte, a 7-year veteran whose spirited play has made him a favorite of all Colt fans.
If not for Broadway Joe, Super Bowl III may have had a different hero.
Tom Matte in Super Bowl III could have been the MVP had they won. I mean, he had a tremendous game. He had over 100 yards rushing and receiving. He was really a very effective weapon.
But Matte makes our list because of his quarterback cameo in 1965.
Unitas gets hurt. The following week, Gary Quazzo, the backup, gets hurt. The only quarterback that I had to turn to was Tom Matte, who hadn't played quarterback in pro ball. He was a quarterback for Woody Hayes, 3 yards in a cloud of dust offense at Ohio State. And I called Woody and I said, tell me about Matte as a quarterback. He said, Coach, you don't have a thing to worry about. He's a winner. He's going to do the job for you. And I thought for a minute, I said, were there any negatives? He said, yeah, he had trouble taking that snap from center.
Another challenge Matte faced was learning the Colts' complicated playbook.
That's when I made the decision to put our game plan on a wristband in case he forgot, what the call should be.
Necessity is the mother of invention. He's a guy who's not used to calling plays, and now he's in this position where he's going to have to play this important game.
They were trying to simplify the offense as much as possible for me.
Matte started in a playoff game against Green Bay, and the Packers smelled blood in the water.
They did everything knowing the position we was in. They did a lot of hollering, a lot of screaming. Tom, we're coming after you. We're coming after you on this play.
Then when I had the wristband off, Nitschke tried to rip it off my wrist. He says, hey, you don't need that. You don't need help. You don't need to cheat on the football field. I said, hey, listen, I need all the help I can get.
The Colts lost in overtime, but our number 10 player proved he was as tough as he was versatile.
Watching Matte just take that snap and turn it up in there with no fear whatsoever was awe-inspiring.
After losing to the Packers, Matte and the Colts let loose against the Cowboys in the runner-up bowl.
In that ball game, Matte was outstanding.
The Colts start the afternoon with a new assurance. Matte has made a phenomenal adjustment.
They said, no, we're going to let Matte throw the football today. It was a day that I think everything came together.
We threw the ball quite a bit, and he did throw some good balls.
With a precision characteristic of a veteran passer, Matte pinpoints Raymond Berry.
Matte had it all. He could play that option quarterback and really be difficult to deal with.
A symbol of Matty's versatility will live forever as his wristband now resides in the Hall of Fame.
You know, to be in the Hall of Fame for any reason, and this means a lot to me, is really important.
Coming up, the return man who could do it all.
He was fearless about returning kicks. He was ready to go at any moment.
Kickers are not known as the most versatile athletes.
A bad hold for Colts, but he's in trouble. Tries to throw the ball. It's picked up by the Seahawks. And it's going to be returned all the way for a touchdown.
But some kickers showed they were more than a one-trick pony. Lou the Toe Groza excelled at offensive tackle in addition to being the first great kicker. Both Danny White and Tom Tupa doubled as punter and quarterback.
You talk about Cinderella. Here's a new fairy tale. Touchdown, Tom Tupa.
Players at other positions have also been known to dabble in the kicking game.
Doug Flutie way about 15 yards off the line of scrimmage and going to kick it. And he drop kicks it up and through. How about that?
Randall Cunningham attempted 20 punts in his career, including a 91-yarder. Former Patriot kicker/receiver Gino Cappelletti finished his career as the Patriots scoring leader, but he doesn't quite measure up to the one-time NFL points champ.
The number 9 most versatile player of all time, George Blanda.
Now Blanda shows the all-round ability that won him the league's Back of the Week honor 7 days earlier with his sneak for the score.
George Blanda was one of the best kickers and most clutch quarterbacks of all time. He would be higher on this list if he stuck at a third position as a rookie.
When he went with the Bears, they had two other quarterbacks. They had Bobby Lane, Johnny Lujack, and Blanda was the third quarterback. So he realized he probably wasn't going to play, so they used him at linebacker.
When he was first breaking into the league, he was a big, strong, husky guy out of the University of Kentucky, and he was that kind of an athlete.
After 10 years with the Bears, Blanda was relegated to only kicking duties and quit the team. Luckily, the AFL's Houston Oilers came calling.
George Blanda didn't want to be known as a kicker. George Blanda wanted to be known as a quarterback who kicked.
When George Blanda came to the Oilers, he's coming out of the conservative National Football League into this new upstart American Football League that not only is allowing but encouraging wide open offenses. So this is a quarterback's dream.
Blanda set a then AFL-NFL record with 36 touchdown passes in a season, but was deemed too old at age 39 and released. The Oakland Raiders signed the 40-year-old kicker/quarterback the following season. 3 years later, Blanda would take the team on a 5-game miracle run.
The game came down to those last few minutes, and the Raiders would be losing. You just knew that here comes George Blanda. We're starting again. This is an extra quarter.
And here's your ball game. It's snapped, it's down, it's kicked, it is good! It's good!
The minute we were in trouble, John just went to the bullpen, waved his hand, and George came in and started throwing those miraculous passes and kicking those miraculous field goals.
Blanda's most impressive feat came against the Cleveland Browns. Once again, the ageless wonder worked his versatile magic off the bench.
He said, I'll tell you what, he said, if you let me throw 3 slants to Warren Wells, I'll guarantee you a touchdown.
Blanda back to pass. Blanda looks, Blanda throws. Complete touchdown, Wells. Raiders score.
When the game was on the line, George Blanda wanted the football or wanted to be kicking the football because he could win.
There it is. Snap, spotted. It's kicked. That's got a chance. That is good. It's good. Holy Toledo.
He is, I think, the greatest clutch player that the game has ever known.
George Blanda has just been elected king of the world.
At the age of 43, George Blanda was not over the hill. He was king of it.
What's most amazing about our number 9 player streak was that he was doing it at age 43.
Old people would say, how the hell is he doing that? And wives would say to their husbands, look, this guy's 45 years old, and he's kicked, why can't you mow the lawn?
Blanda became the NFL's all-time leading scorer and one of its all-time competitors.
He was an inspirational player. He was a clutch player. All of these things add to his versatility.
The number 8 most versatile player of all time, Brian Mitchell.
I wonder if anybody in the history of the league has played as many different positions as you have.
Cardell Stewart came in and they called him Slash. I said, well, I've been doing that since '90, so he can have the name.
Brian Mitchell was a versatile player. He was a guy who could throw the football, could bring back kicks, played running back.
The former Eagle and Redskin was a man of many roles, but little notoriety, especially when compared to the player he ranks behind in all-purpose yards.
Jerry Rice is one of the greatest players that ever lived. Second in the line of all-purpose yards is Brian Mitchell. Brian who? They're not asking Brian Mitchell to go on Dancing with the Stars.
Mitchell grabs it at the 23. He's back up to the 30, far side. Got the corner at the 40. Bye-bye.
It's our house. We can whoop some ass today, baby.
In college, our number 8 most versatile player was a quarterback. In the NFL, he was a man without a position.
We take him and make him, to be a running back, return guy, not knowing what's going to happen to his career. Wouldn't think he'd have much of a chance of making a team. And he winds up being a true star in the NFL.
I had the opportunity to go to Canada and keep playing quarterback, but my dream wasn't to play in the Canadian League. So I basically put my mind into it. Well, I'm gonna make this one of the glamour positions of football.
That's what I plan on doing, returning everything.
You hear guys say you have that field vision where you can kind of see the play before it develops and you can kind of hit the hole. That's what Brian brought to the game, and he was strong.
He was an in-your-face guy. He was fearless about returning kicks. He'd stick his nose in somebody else's face and start a fight. He was ready to go at any moment.
I like a fight. A legal one.
Mitchell did a dead-on impersonation of a quarterback against the Philadelphia Eagles in the body bag game. With both quarterbacks out, Coach Joe Gibbs found a solution.
Joe Gibbs went, well, what am I going to do now? Then the first space he would see would be Brian Mitchell. We'd go, we play every other position. Let's put him in quarterback for a little while.
The Redskins lost the game, but Mitchell completed 3 of 5 passes and added a rushing touchdown.
And once again, bravo, Brian Mitchell.
Let me jump, baby. Here we go.
Whatever it required, he was what we call one of those raggedy man kind of players, a guy who just did anything.
No matter what job you needed done, he could give you a capable or better job at that position.
I was told by Joe Gibbs, the more you can do, the longer you'll play. I took full advantage of it.
Still to come, the Steelers' jack of all trades.
He was such a talent and such an athlete that, hey, he's on the team, let's use him somehow. What else can he do?
Yeah, give Mr. Versatility. We're going to have a big game out of him.
Versatility is not limited to offensive players. Take, for instance, linebacker Adalius Thomas.
Adalius Thomas, probably the most versatile player in the National Football League. He has literally played all 11 positions on the defensive side.
Former Jets defensive lineman Joe Klecko was selected to the Pro Bowl at 3 defensive line positions, and versatility runs in the family.
He will fake the ball to a dive. Looks for Dan Klecko. He's got it. Touchdown, Dan Klecko.
The big guys on defense have been known to make an impact on offense.
Hand off to the
New England got run over by the fridge, but one Patriot won up the plump tackle.
The number 7 most versatile player of all time, Mike Vrabel.
I was talking to
one of the Patriots not too long ago about what it takes to be successful in that Patriots defense, and he said, well, when you walk in the door, basically you learn to play 2 or 3 positions.
Another one of those versatile players for the Patriots. One man's trash is another man's treasure as the Patriots struck gold with our number 7 most versatile player.
Mike Vrabel was a part-time player in Pittsburgh. They saw in him an element of versatility which they thought would be of great benefit to them.
Mike Vrabel is a guy who is interchangeable. You know, you could play him at defensive end, you could play him at outside linebacker, you could play him at rush linebacker. So he fits into Bill Belichick's defense perfectly. He's kind of a good poster boy for what the New England Patriots are all about.
Plays the run pretty good, plays the pass pretty good. You know, tough guy that plays on the special teams, that prepares hard. There's a lot of things I like about Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel is a linebacker. But when people remember his contributions to the Patriots, they're not going to remember the tackles that he made. They're going to remember the touchdowns that he caught.
In 2004, Vrabel caught his first NFL touchdown, and a two-way player was born.
I think this is something that Belichick saw during practice. He sees that the guy can catch the ball, so the guys get great hands. Why not use him?
Yeah, Mike's one of those guys in practice, when you put him in there, he comes back and he tells you he's always open.
Yeah, open all the time, but Brady refuses to throw it to me.
Brady would throw it to our number 7 most versatile player. Vrabel has 8 career receptions for 8 touchdowns, including 2 on the NFL's biggest stage.
Good evening, everyone. From Reliance Stadium.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Jacksonville, Florida.
And Mike Vrabel comes into the game. First and goal as he goes 2. Seymour, the fullback, offset right. Back to throw. Brady, play action fake. Brady fires end zone. Fires touchdown. Oh, touchdown. Touchdown in the end zone to Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Vrabel knows when to score. I mean, he's got certainly a sense of timing. And then on top of it, his name is Vrabel. It's not like Rice or Swan, which are normally names for the graceful type players. But Vrabel, it's a perfect name to say, I don't normally do this.
In a dynasty best known for its unselfishness, Vrabel may be the ultimate Patriot.
Mike Vrabel allows them to keep one player that can do so many other things.
What they got was a first-rate linebacker and a guy who can play inside and can be part of any kind of weird defensive package that you want. And then, oh, by the way, he can line up as an eligible receiver, catch 8 passes off for touchdowns, and score in 2 different Super Bowls. It's one of the more interesting careers of our time.
The number 6 most versatile player of all time, Kordell Stewart.
When I first got to camp, Coach didn't know what to do with me. And then one day, it just hit him. Coach, you all right?
In 1995, the Steelers had a problem. They had one of the most versatile rookies of all time with no position to play in. Their solution? Try him everywhere.
Stewart looking for the block. There goes Slash! That Kordell Stewart is strictly a crazy leg. He is blockbuster stuff. He's the wave of the National Football League.
But to some, Stewart is best known for his arm.
To me, as a Michigan Wolverine, he's a guy who can heave the ball 70 yards down the field.
Back goes Stewart. Time has run out. Stewart throwing it to the end zone. The ball's in the air. Time has run out. Colorado has won the game.
And yet he's known for his versatility. For me, I don't think so. I know him as a guy who can really throw the ball.
Our number 6 player did much more than just throw the ball.
He was such a talent and such an athlete that, hey, he's on the team, let's use him somehow. What else can he do?
The answer was everything, and his list of talents earned him a nickname.
Not too many quarterbacks or receivers done all the things that I've done, so you say quarterback / wide receiver / kicker / running back. So instead of calling me all that, just break it down and just give me one word, Slash.
Slash was a movement, because here you have a great athlete Why let that guy sit on the bench when he's a better athlete than half the receivers you got and half your running backs?
What a play by Cordell Stewart, and only a great athlete could make it happen.
I may have to get out here and have a little fun. Do a little something.
Stewart became such a force offensively that he altered his opponent's preparation.
He scared the heck out of people. I mean, you couldn't go into the game without game planning for the guy. It forced teams to have to prepare. That little 12-play Cordell Stewart package would take up half the week of practice for a team.
As successful as the slash experiment was, Stewart still longed to play quarterback. In 1997, he got his wish.
The man formerly known as Slash has arisen.
In his new role, our number 6 player struggled with consistency.
He was a guy that played his whole career at the extremes of people's expectations.
Cordell Stewart has gone from a question mark to the Pro Bowl to MVP to status as a first-rate NFL quarterback.
Slash led the Steelers to an AFC championship in his first year as a starter, but the versatile quarterback's roller coaster play eventually cost him his job.
Cordell Stewart didn't give up his dream, and he had a measure of success here, but he's no longer here partly because they didn't think he was good enough, and a lot of people would tell you that he should have stayed at wide receiver. He would have been one of the great ones.
And Cordell Stewart is just something else.
Up next, Concrete Charlie makes his case.
For what these glamour boys earn for what little they play, it's a joke.
A young core of coaches left.
We're counting down the top 10 most versatile players of all time. And now a recap of 10 through 6. Number 10, emergency quarterback Tom Matte.
Watching Matte was awe-inspiring.
Number 9, George Blanda, the Miracle Man.
George Blanda is just feeling like the king of the world.
Number 8, Mr. Everything, Brian Mitchell.
Brian Mitchell was a versatile player.
Number 7, linebacker turned Super Bowl scoring machine Mike Vrabel. Number 6, Slash Mania hits the NFL.
He is blockbuster stuff. He's the rave of the National Football League.
The number 5 most versatile player of all time, Troy Brown.
Troy Brown, I mean, the guy does everything.
Back at the 48 is Troy Brown. That's a handoff to Troy Brown. Look out, here he comes. Touchdown! 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 Troy Brown! Touchdown! 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 Troy Brown! The electrifying and brilliant Troy Brown.
Troy Brown first made his mark as a receiver and a return man with New England.
Troy Brown is my all-time favorite Patriot. The first time he started to get the notoriety he deserved was when the Patriots needed to win to clinch the division championship down in the Meadowlands, and he made a spectacular catch falling, sitting on his rear end over his head for a big first down, and Drew Bledsoe had the famous quote, "I would throw to Troy Brown anytime."
Brown holds the Patriots' record for punt return yardage, receptions in a season, and career receptions. Not bad for an 8th-round pick out of Marshall.
Touchdown, Troy Brown! What a catch.
But Brown is our number 5 most versatile player for his exploits at cornerback in 2004.
Sometimes you get into a situation where you do need to do that.
We saw numbers-wise we were a little short in the secondary, and we said, you know what, let's start working Troy in there a little bit on defense and just see how it goes.
I was in the meeting room, actually, and I looked behind me. Like, that's Troy.
They threw me in for a few plays, and I didn't look too good.
I thought he had a long way to go. I thought he had to stick to receiver, you know.
Brown's versatility proved vital in Week 9 against the Rams.
We got an injured Patriot player right on the sidelines there.
Asante Samuel. And the Patriots cannot afford to be losing any cornerbacks.
And Romeo and I are there on the sidelines saying, oh, you got to be kidding me. You know, we talked about this as an emergency. Well, the emergency now is with 59 minutes left to go in the game.
I got Troy Brown out there, man. Come on.
But our number 5 most versatile player proved he was no weak link.
Belichick's mind was, this is a player who's so smart. He's a slot receiver. Well, guess what? We're going to put him in quarterback in the slot. So he's going to see the guy that he's going against, which is him.
Brown ended the season with 3 interceptions, tied for second on the team.
Troy Brown with a pass interception, and he gets a rousing hand.
Patriots have Troy Brown in at quarterback, running the offense.
It was only a preseason game, but you get the feeling Brown could deliver at quarterback in any situation.
Not only has Troy Brown been versatile, but every time the Patriots needed a big play, that guy seemed to make it.
Stands in the pocket, fires, intercepted at the 30-yard line, and taken down, and a fumble on the interception. The Patriots have it.
And it was number 80, Troy Brown, who gets a hand in there.
Yeah, and Caldwell fell on it.
If ever a play solidified a man's image, you know, it was that play. That's an interception stands. The Patriots are not going to beat the Chargers.
Boy, oh boy. Is he something?
The number 4 most versatile player of all time, Chuck Bednarik.
Conditions were not exactly first class in the 1950s. In locker rooms like this one, pro football players prepared themselves for games that were like atomic wars. There were no winners, only survivors.
Chuck Bednarik survived 14 seasons in the NFL trenches as the last 60-minute man.
When you look at what he played, he was a center on offense and a linebacker on defense, 2 of the positions that require somebody that understands the game. Chuck Bednarik understood the game.
For the Eagles, Chuck Bednarik slams into him.
Every time there was a change of possession, there would be a solitary figure standing in the middle of the field all alone, and that was Chuck Bednarik.
What makes Bednarik our number 4 most versatile player is the blue-collar nature of the positions he played.
Playing inside with the big boys and fighting and grunting it out physically like that for 3 hours, that in itself is pretty special, pretty unique.
And you get into that sort of a cannibalistic feeling. All you want to do is go out there and, like I say, you just want to kill somebody. When I get him, I'm going to kill him. Not meaning you're going to put him in the ground after, but you just want to kill a guy.
Well, Bednarik was a true warrior. I mean, that was the way he played the game.
No play symbolized our number 4 most versatile player better than his haymaker on Frank Gifford.
It was a fearsome collision, and it's probably as famous a hit as has ever been in NFL history.
There's about a minute and a half to go, and he does a down and in pass. As soon as he caught it, I really puffed him, and his head snapped, and the ball flew, and Chuck Weber fell on it. I clenched my fist. I turned around, and I closed my eyes, and I said, this effing game is over.
On the sidelines after that hit, Charlie Connerly, who was a Giants quarterback, was hollering at Bednarik. And Chuck turned around and he pointed at Connerly and said, "Oh yeah? Well, I'm going to get you next week."
Here's Chuck Bednarik, Pennsylvania's All-American center. His exploits on the field are well known, and the Eagles are counting on him.
While the hit on Gifford is Bednarik's defining play, the 1960 championship is his defining game.
Bednarik will play both ways.
At age 35, our number 4 most versatile player dominated both sides of the ball.
He puts the hit on Paul Hornung that knocks Paul Hornung out of that game. And then, after playing 58 and a half of the 60 minutes, he's the guy who tackles Jim Taylor as the clock runs out at the 8-yard line to preserve the win.
Again, Bednarik makes a crucial play for the Birds.
That, to me, is the Bednarik tackle. He's just enveloped him, and he's wrestling him down to the ground.
Pros like myself played football, not for money or glory, but for the simplest reason, the love of the game.
Of course, if Concrete Charlie constructed this list, it would look much, much different.
for what my generation did and went through and so forth, and what these glamour boys
I know glamour boy.
earn for what little they play, it's a joke. Is it football?
I love me some me.
Are you guys football players? Is that what they call football? It's not Iron Man football, where you stay on the field for 60 minutes, everybody. We were Iron Men, not a bunch of pussyfoots.
Coming up, the player who could score from any position on the field. Making the transition from defensive back to receiver can be hard. Just ask Roy Jetstream Green.
You can't put receiver and defensive back in the same room. It's two different things. So, thus, I do have to possess that split personality.
Green became a receiver in his 4th year and finished as the Cardinals' leader in receiving yards. Broncos cornerback Champ Bailey also tried playing both ways, and even Randy Moss made the occasional appearance as a defensive back.
What a catch by Mike Furry!
Mike Furry had a unique path to NFL stardom. Furry started as a receiver with the Rams, switched to free safety, then switched back to receiver with the Lions.
That dude right there plays safety last year. Right.
The diminutive Lion led the NFC in receptions in 2006, but he wasn't quite ready for prime time.
The number 3 most versatile player of all time, Deion Sanders.
What's it going to be, Deion? Football or baseball? Both, boss. Both?
Both. Deion Sanders wasn't the first two-sport pro, but he played both in prime time.
Deion, for sure, is one of the greatest two-sport athletes ever.
To the 30, the 25, the 20, Deion Sanders, touchdown!
How many players do you know who have played in a World Series and played in a Super Bowl and been voted to 8 Pro Bowls? Do you know anybody else other than Deion Sanders? He was of another world like that.
If I had to say who was the best all-around athlete I've ever seen, I don't think there's any question it would be Deion Sanders. Great baseball player, obviously Hall of Fame football player, great basketball player, track guy. I mean, just a guy who could really do it all.
Yo, let's get sick with it, bro. Let's get sick with it.
Dizziness and cold sweats awaited those who kicked to Neon Deion, who was always a threat to take it all the way.
His threat in the kicking game was just enormous.
He was one of these guys where everybody got on the edge of the seat and they were waiting for something to happen. You kind of expected him always to do something kind of brilliant there.
Sanders to the 25. Sanders to the 10. He did it again.
Offense or defense? Both. Both.
I think if Deion had concentrated on being a wide receiver, he could have been a special wide receiver. He was the kind of guy that you just put on the field and he made plays.
Sanders' work at receiver was a part-time gig until 1996, when the Dallas Cowboys asked for a full-time commitment.
Michael Irvin served a 5-game suspension to start that year. So there was no Michael Irvin the first 5 games of that season. It's what they needed at that time, what they didn't have.
Aikman short drop. Lobs one to the end zone to Deion Sanders. Caught. Touchdown Dallas.
You know, he had a few routes, and then he just used his athletic ability to beat people. So if he'd have spent more time and committed more study to what the offense was, he could have put up some good numbers.
In coverage, Sanders feared no one. His reputation alone scared offenses away.
We throw the term around shutdown corner quite a bit. Deion was really the true last shutdown corner. Tremendous makeup speed, baited a lot of people. He's open. Well, he's not really that open because he's going to get back and make a play.
The fact that he can cover the way he did as a covered corner.
Deion Sanders is amazing. I mean, he is like an extra jersey on these receivers.
And then gained the reputation to the point where he didn't have to cover anymore because no one would throw at him. He's probably one of the most versatile players that many of us will see in our lifetime.
I think Deion may have been the most versatile player in the history of the league.
Up next, the halfback who can do it all.
For versatile.
Some of the best athletes in the game play running back. In 2005, LaDainian Tomlinson had a passing, receiving, and a rushing touchdown in the same game.
LT, truly an S on his chest tonight. You are a Superman.
Walter Payton was just as liable to throw for a touchdown or block an oncoming linebacker as he was to run someone over. Marcus Allen was dangerous through the air and on the ground. Marshall Faulk was the first player in history to gain 2,000 yards from scrimmage in 4 consecutive seasons.
I'm out of superlatives. I am out of superlatives. Woo, he's amazing.
But the man in blue and gold doesn't quite match the Golden Boy.
The number 2 most versatile player of all time, Paul Hornung.
Number 2.
31 counter on 3. Ready? Up, go! Hornung, 6'2", 205 pounds, is all power. Touchdown, Notre Dame!
Hornung was a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback out of Notre Dame. But when he was drafted by the Packers, he had an identity crisis.
My role was never clearly defined. Lyle Blackman was the coach then. He didn't know what he was doing. He had me playing halfback, fullback, and quarterback.
What the hell's going on out here?
It wasn't until Vince Lombardi took over that Hornung fulfilled his potential.
And then Lombardi came, and he told me, Hornung, you're going to be my left halfback.
Hornung thrived at the position. He set an NFL record with 176 points in a season and became known for his nose for the end zone.
All of Hornung's power and weight was from the waist down. And that's what made him so effective in the goal line.
I think the closer we came to the goal line, the tougher that he ran.
Almost half of Hornung's scoring output came as a place kicker.
Paul became a very, very effective place kicker.
3 straight incomplete passes give Paul Hornung another chance to swing his golden toe. Paul will kick from the 23-yard line. Paul's kick is high and true.
36 years later, Hornung's record fell, but it took LT one more game to best the Golden Boy.
Watch Paul Hornung's block on a blitzing Colt linebacker shake Taylor loose on this 33-yard burst to the Baltimore 1-yard line.
When also you're talking about versatile players, Hornung was a great blocker. He might have been even better as a blocker than he was as a runner.
Taylor is a 1,000-yard rusher because Hornung was that lead blocker.
There wasn't anything our number 2 most versatile player couldn't do offensively.
Paul Hornung was one of the most versatile football players that ever played pro football. That's the way I would like to be remembered.
Number 5 is the Golden Boy, Paul Hornung.
Our number 2 most versatile player may have led the league in off-the-field activity as well. In 1963, Hornung served a 1-year suspension for betting on football.
I know what I did was wrong. I never bet against my team. We never. If I bet against the Packers in those days, I would have lost anyway because we beat the number so many times it was ridiculous.
He certainly had very strong leadership qualities off the football field. Come on, Irv, quit laughing, man. Quit laughing. The broads that he brought in. The broads that he brought in. That's the name of the game.
Hornung was also known for his way with the ladies.
Well, Paul could do it all, and he did love to score, both on the field and off, I guess.
Believe me, Paul was an impact player on the Green Bay Packers. He also was an impact player on half the females in the United States.
Still to come.
You're talking about one guy who was Peyton Manning, Ray Guy.
Who are the top 10 most versatile players in NFL history? Here's 10 through 2 on our list. Number 10, Tom Matte does his best Johnny Unitas impression.
With a precision characteristic of a veteran passer, Matte pinpoints Raymond Berry.
Number 9, George Blanda puts the silver in silver and black.
Wives would say to their husbands, look, this guy's 45 years old. Why can't you mow the lawn?
Number 8, Brian Mitchell, the feisty return man.
He was an in-your-face guy.
Number 7, the part-time Patriot pass receiver.
Vrabel, another one of those versatile players for the Patriots.
Number 6, the many talents of Cordell Stewart.
He's going to pooch it. He does it all.
Number 5, Troy Brown switches sides.
He's doing whatever it takes to help the team win.
Number 4, Concrete Charlie, the last 60-minute man.
We were Iron Men, not a bunch of pussyfoots.
Number 3, Neon Dion struts his stuff.
Dion is really a quiet guy, but once the camera lights came on, he became prime time.
Number 2, the Golden Boy sets the gold standard for versatility.
For versatility, man, he's got to rank up there in the top 2. I don't know too many people did more things than he did.
The number 1 most versatile player of all time, Slingin' Sammy Baugh.
Slingin' Sammy Baugh, voted the greatest living quarterback of all time by the Associated Press poll. Every time he throws the football, completes a pass, gains a yard, scores a touchdown, Baugh sets a world record.
Sammy Baugh joined the Washington Redskins in 1937, and the quarterback position was never the same.
Until 1937, passing tended to be mostly a downfield thing. Sammy comes into the league, and all of a sudden everything starts to change.
He took the forward pass and took the desperation out of it. There was a time before Sammy Baugh came along that people only threw the football when they had to. Sammy Baugh came along and really brought along the idea that the forward pass can be a viable part of your offensive strategy, every bit as much as a run.
Baugh changed the game by being more efficient than quarterbacks of his day and still owns the second-best single-season completion percentage in NFL history. But our number 1 most versatile player was more than just a great passer.
He was also a great punter, led the league in punting, led the league in interceptions, and led the league in passing all in one season. So you talk about versatility, you have to make an argument that Sammy Baugh's versatility was par excellence.
I mean, that's a trifecta that I don't think anybody's come close to.
When I think of Sammy Baugh, it's not of the things that he could do. It's the things that he couldn't do, which was nothing.
Baugh averaged over 51 yards per punt in 1940, the greatest single season ever.
I worked on putting more than I did passing, to tell you the truth.
Slingin' Sammy has another record that will likely never be seen again.
Of all the records that I held when I was up there, the one I was more proud of than any of them was intercepted 4 passes in one ball game and passed for 4 touchdowns.
You're talking about one guy who was Peyton Manning, Ray Guy, and Ronnie Lott, all as one. You have 3 Hall of Fame busts resting on one set of shoulder pads.
Baugh is the number 1 most versatile player on our list, and some feel he deserves a higher honor.
There are a lot of football historians that will tell you that Sammy Baugh, to this day, is the best all-around athlete that's ever played in the National Football League.
He could do anything on a football field. As a passer, as a runner, he was a deadly tackler on defense. He was one of the great coffin corner kickers. Sammy Baugh, still to this day, might get my vote as the greatest football player that ever lived.
As is the case with many on our list, with Slingin' Sammy, excellence is a state of mind.
When you're on the field, you've got to feel like you're the best son of a that's out there. That's what you're thinking. Nobody is damn better than I am.